Women over 30 are just realizing, yeah, you're not hot stuff anymore. And even if you are hot, still attractive in your 30, you're also not fertile. So most men are still not going to be attracted to you because we have a lizard brain still from our, early days, that we are attracted to young, beautiful, attractive, fertile women.
Hey guys, so I've been a little bit AWOL. The truth is, I had a birthday, and
Uh-huh.
as many of you will know, if you're involuntary childless and in your 40s, well, any age really, birthdays can be a huge trigger. And this year,
So you have PTSDs on your birthday? Is that how we're seeing things now? Because you're so childless and lonely that you're getting PTSD every time that number goes up 1 year?
for me, was a huge trigger. But then I realised something as well, and something that's really overlooked is that I think that birthdays, when you're childless, can be considered a traumaversary. And if you have symptoms of trauma, maybe complex PTSD
Traumaversary. Wow.
or something, there are certain events or certain dates that
They just can't take any accountability for crap, can they? It's just PTSD. I guess, it's not that I made the wrong choices in my 20s and in my 30s, now that I'm in my 40s and childless. No, it's, I have PTSD. That's the reason.
can trigger off this kind of reaction, which can be really physical. And some say that it should be listed as a symptom of PTSD. And I realised that that's what we go through as childless people, our own birthdays.
I was just kidding about the whole PTSD thing. I didn't realize she went that way. She literally went that direction. Like, wow.
When they're triggering, could be considered and have the same impacts as a traumaversary.
She had plenty of time to find a decent guy, settle down and have children. She had at least 10 to 15 years. Instead, she chased a career and...
I mean, at 40, you technically, she probably had 20 years, right? Because technically at 16 or so, you can start relationships. You can go towards marriage, go towards those things. You actually have a decent amount of time, about 20 years.
Rolled the carousel. Sometimes they can even spend years in university, studying and paying off debts. Then after they graduate, they end up working in Wendy's. Now she's reached a stage in her life where she's calling her birthday a traumaversary.
She has gone mad.
This is a story of a single 30-something living in New York City and heading to London to freeze my eggs for 1/3 of the cost. I've lived a life of adventure, career, and not settling for love in my 30s. And you know what? I still want to do that for a while longer. The average cost of freezing your eggs in New York is $15,000.
Damn, that's a lot of money.
In London, I'm paying around $6,000 for everything. I'm scared it won't work out and what I hoped for, but I want to show
Yeah, 6,000 is way less scary than 15,000.
you guys the reality of it all. The emotions, the daily vlogs of how it works and answering your questions along the way, the shots.
And then you could have just had kids easy in your 20s without all this and money.
I hope my story can help show another option to take control of your fertility at a fraction of the cost.
Maybe just build relationships and work towards marriage and children at younger ages. That kind of circumvents all of this.
I start this week, and can we mention how nice the doctor's offices are here?
So if you're curious to know what it's like egg freezing abroad and in London, follow along.
3 days later.
Story time for why my egg freezing didn't work. This month was a very, very light period. I felt like my body was just off, but I kind of ignored it and powered through and was determined to do this. Because I look and feel young, I just thought, hey,
So you just got scammed out of $6,000 is kind of what I just heard right now, because it didn't work. Nothing happened, right?
fertility is great. My levels seemed pretty average, so I wasn't really worried about it. From a medical standpoint, how egg freezing works is you have follicles on your ovaries. They start really small, and the medicine helps them grow. And each follicle hopefully can have an egg that matures while it's growing, and then they go and then they collect all the eggs. It's recommended to get about 10 eggs for every live birth. In early August, I had 11
So a 10% chance. So you took out 10 eggs to maybe get one child.
follicles. And not all follicles tend to work. or have a mature egg. So I knew I was already probably going to have to do this twice. Doctors cleared me moving forward. 3 weeks later, when I started my next period, is when I would do the procedure. So this month, I only had 7 follicles. I had a lot of personal stuff that also went on in those 3 weeks. That was pretty stressful. But your follicle count can fluctuate. So from a medical standpoint, I was taking the medicine and one of the follicles was absorbing like all the medicine and just was growing at a really fast rate, and all the other follicles just weren't growing. And so as I got halfway through,
Again, sounds like a scam to me so far. Like, I feel like they know all of this, right? They know that the chances of even getting the 10 eggs is slim to none. That's probably why they put 10 eggs up there as the number.
the doctors just realized I wasn't going to have a lot of follicles to take an egg from. And this one was so big that it probably was going to release its egg early anyways. So they didn't recommend doing the procedure if maybe I could only get 1 egg. The more people I've told about this, the more I've heard that it's quite common. A lot of people tend to have
So it's definitely a scam then, if it's this common.
failed cycles, and then they have successful cycles, their second or third. So this is a lot more common, and this is why I want to bring it to light.
Damn, do we need to start egg freezing companies, man? Like, who has an in for this kind of industry? Talk to me. I want in on this. 6,000 a pop, and she didn't even get anything out of it in a sense. I can do that.
The real side of egg freezing.
Modern women want to go against natural biology. Instead of trying to have children in their early 20s, they are trying to use technology to freeze their eggs so they can live a life chasing their careers and being 304s. Unfortunately, they come to realize freezing their eggs don't always work.
It seems like it hardly ever works. I don't really hear too many success stories. I have one. My good friend Brian and his wife also was able to get it done, and they have a beautiful daughter now. But I don't know very many other couples that have it done that worked.
Created our own reality.
So, as a spinster, I am, of course, a crazy cat lady. I have a cat. I love my cat. I'm a veterinarian. I like cats. But I have to tell you that when it comes down to it, cats not really all that different from human men. They do not understand the concept of consent or personal space. Thank you for illustrating that, Charlie. They require you to feed them, clean up after them, take care of them. And they think they're in charge, even though they've done absolutely nothing to deserve it.
She can keep telling herself that if it makes her feel better.
Right.
This is one extreme example of what...
So if that was the case, then why not just have a man? Why have a cat? if we're the exact same thing as cats, at least you get some sex and maybe a little bit of resources out of it.
It looks like when somebody is trying to cope.
Aren't you that crazy cat lady?
Shout outs to modern dating archive reviews. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that, and catch you guys next time. Ciao.